Stanley Matara, a passionate musician and a music instructor, has vowed to change the image of music industry and art and entertainment as a whole item to impact current and future generations forever.
I am a musician and a caterer also by profession. So I've been doing music for the past 11 years. You see, doing this music for 11 years, you come across people who have the same desire as you, and you find that they are limited in places where they can actually get this music education. So you find it's too costly, and sometimes someone can also cry out that, will you teach me? And I'm like, since it's my passion, it's what I like doing. So I've been training until I realized that actually I'm good at it, and I studied more. I furthered my exams, and I started teaching children. So I started at church as a volunteer, and I've been volunteering, especially in church. Actually, you don't really ask for money, but you just want to see the kids perform during the service. My studies were quite funny because I could remember I studied in a public school, let's say from primary school. Then I started at Roysambu Primary, it's just around Zimmerman. That's my hood, that's where I grew in. And in high school, I went to Jamhuri High School. And in school, we never used to do music. And you see, these schools being public and also where they are located, there's no that exposure to the instruments or people doing music professionally. So it didn't ring a bell that actually I'm a musician. In school, I could remember that the principal at that time, he had some guitars in the office, and also the principal had this passion for music. So he asked who is willing to be trained. So they got a teacher, and then he trained us the guitar, but it was only for 3 lessons. Then he got fired for some reasons I couldn't understand. So since the guitar was there, so we just used to get to the office, and then we play whatever we were taught those 3 lessons. So we keep on repeating, because we had no idea on where we can get other materials. So after that, after high school, I started looking for personal tutors, and I'll find these Congolese, I'll find people in the band. And you see, it was quite rough because, yeah, they will charge expensive and they wouldn't give you what you wanted, because at that time I was so passionate about rock. And on the look, you see, most people are playing Lingala, Rumba, so it wasn't really interesting for me. Yeah, so I said no, I can't continue this. So I started looking just online for rock bands, people who do rock. Then I realized they used to hang out also at the Alliance Française. So I was going with my guitar, find a person. So when they play, also I learn a few, 2 things from them. Yeah, then my parents at that time, they really saw I do have quite a lot of passion. So then they enrolled me in the ABRSM. So ABRSM is just, you learn an instrument. So I started learning voice and the piano, and the exams, they are actually marked abroad, and you're being interviewed by the White. So the school is we have the London College of Music. So that's where I pursued. And also I went and did also at KU.
Stanley, otherwise known as Stan, believes that nurturing young talents is very crucial to their development into adulthood.
Apparently, most of my clients are children, and this is why you'll find that children, they have a lot of time. They're not disappointing as compared to adults. See, adults, you can say a lesson is this day, then they fail to come. But see, with children, they'll be punctual, they'll be coming because they don't have quite a lot of things to do. And also you find that with children, they're not rigid, they're open to learn. But grown-ups, they'll be like, no, I heard a Lingala song, I want you to teach me that Lingala. So you'll say like they're limiting you on how you will teach. We do have a class where it's only for beginners and a class for the ones who have a little bit quite of experience. Yeah, so we can't mix them. So the ones who can play well, they have their class, and the ones who are beginners, we just group them together. Mostly we do some advertisements like flyers, also talk with parents, yeah, and also from schools, just say anyone who wants to learn, yeah, can just visit us. So with the church, churches, they do have some kids program. So actually, since the kids are in the church, so it's even easier. You just go and teach them in their churches. In the churches, since there are many, we kind of do voice. We majorly center on voice, and the ones who you feel they can get it faster. So you can introduce just an instrument, let's say a guitar or violin, yeah, because again, it's costly, and sometimes you find in churches you have to volunteer, so also you have to just do something you are able to handle. We do it like as a group, so I do have a couple of instructors, so we just go as a team. Someone else will handle a guitar, another person will handle a piano, yeah, such kind of thing.
He strongly believes that no one is limited. Not even financial status can limit his target group.
We go around schools, so we identify, we create some kind of a talent search, then we identify the ones who are talented, and let's say they have no way of being trained. Maybe they don't have an instructor, they don't have money, so we kind of take them. So first we look for passion, we look for interest and discipline. So if the pupil or the student has those, then we can easily take them in and we train them just for free. Because again, you see, with them, if they are able to play out there, you kind of feel good with the work. I bring them to the center. So at the center, we have like nearly all the instruments. So they kind of, the first week, they explore all the instruments. Also, they engage with different instructors. And after a week, yeah, you can clearly tell that this child wants maybe a piano or a guitar or a violin. So now, since they want to do that, so we give them like just a quick lesson, maybe for like 3 months, and see how they respond to it. The interesting thing about music is the basics are the same, regardless to which genre you want. So in the first like 4 months, if you just take the beginner course like properly, you realize that you will know these strings, let's say for it's a guitar, see G is still G whether you're playing any other song. Now the idea is, now you have these basics. So if you have the basics, so what do you do next? Now we go to another level. Now you have the basics, so we go to another level. Now this level requires you to be creative. So you're given some notes, some songs, then you're told, now since you do love these songs, I want you to be creative, I want you to try out. And you'll realize that if someone has an interest with a particular genre, it will be easy for them to be creative, and you really even don't need to teach them like how to do it, because you already taught them the basics. So you tell them, now with these songs, this is what they do. Now, have you understood? Yes, now do. You'll find actually eventually they're like, wow, so this is the thing. Okay, I kind of did some research and I realized that kids who have been trained music, they do have discipline, they are good timekeepers. See, with music, you can't play music if you can't keep time. And also you can't play music if you're not disciplined. And also they boost the concentration, especially classical music. You'll find you have to concentrate on a piece. So in school, it helps even the education, especially if you're scoring like 40% in maths, you can boost it to 70%.
Matara tells me the genres of music and other forms of arts that he teaches and why it is important.
Well, actually something interesting happened because I started off from rock, but you see, when I joined school, I was taught classical music, and I realized that classical is amazing because it has now music, it's depth, it's deep, and there are quite a lot of interesting stuff like to learn, especially when you're doing the piano. You realize that so also you can create emotions out of music, just the way you play. And also that's where also I realized that also I can compose something. And I realized actually music, it's important to do music like broadly, just not limiting myself to rock, because I realized there's quite a lot you can experience if you just became open to other ventures. And also that's why also it became easy for me to teach, because you see, when you're teaching, when you're guiding someone, you'll find they have variety of interests. So it's important as an instructor, you learn what other people do so that it becomes easy, and by doing that actually developed an interest to all sorts of music. So classical music, it's so-called, like by many people, it's a music with a bunch of rules, but actually I quite agree to some point. You see, with classical music, you stick to certain kind of rules. Let's say we know of great classical composers, like we have Chopin, we have Mozart, we have Beethoven, we have Vivaldi, like we have quite a number of them, and you'll find they wrote pieces. And now with classical, you'll get those pieces, and you see you have to play them in the exact manner, like giving that emotion. So you kind of don't have that kind of freedom that you can do wherever you want. But as compared to this other music like jazz, also like blues, you can explore some new techniques, some new styles. So yeah, that's quite, that's the difference between them. So with classical, it gives you a good foundation, it gives you the discipline, the right discipline for music. Now when you say, now I'm graduating, I can't be playing things which these old composers composed. So you start your own new stuff, you blend new techniques and see how it comes. Actually, music is a journey, music is experimental, so we just have to find a way of coming up with something new out of the old. We do have also dance classes. We have ballet, ballerina, and also we do have also classes for contemporary dance and hip hop, salsa. And I realize actually most kids, they do love ballerina. As compared to adults, they like salsa. We train them, so we for me, I don't dance, but our instructors, they do train dance. I realize that some, they're good at drawing, painting, such kind of stuff. So we also encourage them, and especially for kids, you see, when we have a program, let's say a holiday program, so we incorporate music, but also we don't leave out like a person who can train like drawing, painting, such kind of stuff. So they do music partly, and also they engage in this other kind of art.
Stan admits that sometimes it is challenging when dealing with kids, but patience is key, and yes, it bears fruits.
Training kids actually you need a lot of patience, because you see, kids are not like grown-ups, and kids, you realize that, especially now, I train from ages from 3 years old, like upwards, and 3 years old, 4 years old, it's quite challenging, because you'll find these kids, you can't push them like grown-ups. You'll have to be patient with them, and you realize that the concentration span at most is 10 minutes. So with that 10 minutes, you have to cover very significant materials, because if you have a lesson for 30 minutes, the next 20 is just practice and talking and practice. And you say you have also to be fun, you have to develop a bond with them. Like you just need to be friends for them to learn and for them to be open with you and be ready. But if you don't have that bond, you'll be coming to class and they're like, no, we don't want this teacher. Well, at our training, in these school days, we train mostly in the evenings. Let's say some schools, kids come from school at 3, so you'll find they go change. They come maybe from between 4 to 4:30. Yeah, between that duration up to 7 o'clock. So you'll find some. And during the weekends, we kind of group them in a way. Then they you find you're giving them a chance to expose themselves to how do I put it? Yeah, to each other. So you'll find if this plays guitar, this one plays piano, so you kind of create some kind of a band. Well, not really a professional band, but just to see, can they play together? Yeah, so you just give them, and then it's fun because they get to compete, and also you just create some kind of competition for them, whereby we see who can play better than the other. For a group, we go like for 2 hours for a group, but if I'm doing like just a personal one-on-one, yeah, 30 minutes is enough in a day.
Stan reveals to me his strongest desire for the trainees, future plans for his center, and his hope for the arts and entertainment industry.
So my desire is these kids to be of great influence in the society, and really not just great but positive influence. Yeah, we don't want like you've trained a kid, then he's full of controversies and you're like, what? Well, in 10 years, I cannot really say, but what I'll say is just takes baby steps, and slowly by slowly, I can say the past like 5 years, we've really grown, and yes, by the next 10 or so, we'll be having quite a lot of talents which we've made. For me, it's coming up with a big school which teaches arts and music and arts. I think, yeah, dance and art. Yeah, just an art school whereby we have music, we have people learning. You see, even carpentry is an art, like I'm just like doing the pottery, like these things, maybe painting. Yeah, just having a big art school whereby each and everyone can communicate. You see, art is mostly communicating. You can find a person making a pot or a paint. You see, well, we may not really understand, but that paint communicates something for the people who understand.
In his closing remarks,
I'll just say people shouldn't give up. Yeah, because if it's giving up, then I myself I will have given up a very long time ago because there are challenges, and actually in Kenya, doing art is very challenging. It's very challenging, and I will encourage, even if someone is doing art, they should have another career, like just something to put food on the table. But if you come doing art thinking that it will give you quick money, then I think you'll be going down in a very bad route. So arts need patience. I'll say for people who have been touched by what we do and feel encouraged, and also the ones who have been supporting us, even by bringing their kids, we really thank them and really enjoy working with them.